I grew up in post-war Germany and didn't know much about German cinema because my country was basically American cinema. The 50s and 60s, I saw westerns and mostly American movies, and I loved them. I went to film school in the late 60s, and the only thing I could ever lay my hands on was 16mm camera and film. Well, by now I'm part of the older generation of German cinema. We once were the new German cinema in the 70s, the Fassbinder, Herzogs, myself and other guys. I think the creative process is one of the last adventures left on the planet. So I've made a movie about a fashion designer, I've made a movie about musicians, and now about Pina Bausch. And some of these people have, what you think, a very different realm that they work in, a fashion designer or a choreographer. And then as a filmmaker, you discover that what they're doing is sometimes very related to your own work, surprisingly related. And in the case of Pina Bausch, as a filmmaker, you think you know something about body language. You have an actor in front of your camera, he has a presence, and that's all about body language. So you think you know how to judge it, and you think you're an expert. And then you meet somebody like Pina Bausch, and you realize in that language, you are an analphabet, and your whole profession along with you. If you're writing a story, you more or less invent your own world. But even then, I'm happy if I find something that I didn't invent and that I can incorporate and that is real and that surprises me. But of course, in documentary, you gotta be ready for surprises every day. Gotta be at the right time at the right moment. For Pina, it was a little different because it was a documentary, but what I had in front of my camera was, so to speak, fictional. It was choreographies, it was work that was done by somebody else, it was somebody's art. So the attitude of a documentary filmmaker in that case is make that subject look as good as possible. And that is one of the several documentary attitudes that you can have. You can be critical, you can be inquisitive, but you can also be just loving. And that is a good way and a good reason to make a movie.